NASA's rover turned 10. Can you believe it? This little machine has helped scientists make some of the most groundbreaking discoveries when it comes to space and Mars. It's hard to believe that a decade has passed, but in that decade, the rover has made some truly amazing revelations regarding Mars and what we know. So stay tuned to find out some of the Curiosity rover's biggest discoveries. And trust us, some of these will surprise you. Now, it's been a decade since NASA's rover was launched. Let's take a look at some of its biggest discoveries so far. A jetpack lowered NASA's Curiosity rover onto Mars 10 years ago today, beginning the SUV-sized explorer's search for scientific evidence that billions of years ago, Mars had the conditions needed to support life. Now, 10 years later, Curiosity has driven nearly 18 miles, 29 kilometers, and climbed 2,050 feet, 625 meters, as it explores Gale Crater and the foothills of Mountain Sharp. The rover has analyzed over 41 rock and soil samples, using a suite of scientific instruments to discover what they reveal about Earth's rocky sibling, and it's pushed a team of engineers to come up with ways to reduce wear and tear while keeping the rover running. Curiosity's mission was recently extended for another 3 years, allowing it to continue to explore the planet and stay among NASA's fleet of important missions. So we thought it was only fitting to look back at some of the rover's biggest discoveries. First up, Mars Lost Lake and River Delta. What if we told you lakes existed in Mars? Well, since 2013, when NASA's Curiosity rover discovered smooth, rounded pebbles on the Martian surface, scientists have had proof that water once flowed on Mars. It was recently discovered that the Gale Crater area was once flooded with water and housed an ancient river delta. More information about Jazero's watery past was revealed in a 2021 paper on NASA's Perseverance Mars rover mission. NASA described the images taken by the rover as steep slopes called escarpments, or scarps in the delta, formed from sediment accumulating at the mouth of an ancient river that long ago fed the crater's lake. Secondly, the Gale Crater could have supported life over 3.5 billion years ago. Curiosity's scientific mission is to explore Gale Crater and determine whether Mars was ever capable of supporting life. According to Ashwin Vasavada, NASA's MSL Curiosity Rover project scientist, they are looking at a location where rocks formed about 3.5 billion years ago, because we believe that if Mars ever had life, it was more likely in the distant past when the atmosphere was much thicker and there was a lot more liquid water, he says. According to Vasavada, Curiosity was not designed to detect life, but rather to determine whether Mars had all necessary conditions, including liquid water, chemical building blocks of life such as carbon, and energy sources that life could use. Curiosity discovered an ancient lake in Yellowknife Bay during its first year on the mission, he claims. According to Vasavada, the minerals left behind indicate that the lake water was neither too acidic nor too salty. We also discovered carbon, nitrogen, sulfur, phosphorus, and other elements necessary for life, he says. Most importantly, Curiosity discovered potential sources of energy for microbial life there. If life was ever present on Mars, this location was indeed habitable, Vasavada said. Next up, the rover also assesses radiation levels. Curiosity has been assessing since its landing the Martian radiation environment, which is assisting scientists in better understanding the risk that radiation may pose to both potential indigenous microbes and human visitors to the red planet. Pretty cool, right? And so far, the news is encouraging, at least in terms of living on Mars. Curiosity's measurements, the first of their kind taken on another planet's surface, indicate that radiation levels on Mars are comparable to those experienced by astronauts aboard the International Space Station. During its 8-month journey through deep space, Curiosity detected significantly higher radiation levels. Overall, rover scientists believe that astronauts could survive a long-term, round-trip Mars mission without accumulating an alarmingly high dose, though a few big solar eruptions directed towards Mars could complicate things considerably. Additionally, nitrogen has been discovered on Mars, which is essential to human life. Nitrogen is an essential component in the recipe for life on Earth, but not just any nitrogen will do. In order for most biological processes to use it, the nitrogen atoms must first be fixed or freed from their strong tendency to interact only with themselves. Fixed nitrogen is required for DNA, RNA, and protein synthesis, Spin explained. These are the foundations of life as we know it. In 2015, they discovered fixed nitrogen in the form of nitrate in rock samples it examined. The discovery revealed that biologically and chemically usable nitrogen existed on Mars 3.5 billion years ago. Now the rover found that organic matter existed on ancient Mars and has even survived in its entirety to this day. According to Vasavada, Curiosity discovered that ancient Mars had enough carbon in its rocks and soils to serve as a raw material for life, if it ever existed. Curiosity discovered a diversity of organic molecules in the lake bedrocks of Gale Crater, he says. Most are short, only a few carbon atoms long. However, Vasavada believes that these carbon-based molecules on Mars could be fragments of more complex organic molecules that have degraded over billions of years. He also mentions how surprising it is that even these simple molecules survived. It's possible that they were long buried and only recently surfaced due to a natural erosion process. Finally, regional dust storms consistently dry out the landscape. NASA announced in August of 2021 that regional dust storms play a huge role in drying out Mars. Scientists believe Mars had a lot more water billions billions of years ago, but they're not sure why it escaped. Scientists discovered one reason, however, using 3 spacecraft. Storms warm up higher altitudes of the cold atmosphere. Water molecules are left vulnerable to ultraviolet radiation in the higher reaches of Mars, where the atmosphere is sparse, breaking them up into their lighter components of hydrogen and oxygen, NASA explained. In other NASA news, an exciting launch to the moon is happening this month. Here's what you need to know. So we're heading back to the moon. It appears so. In recent news, NASA's massive space launch system moon rocket, topped by an uncrewed astronaut capsule, will begin its hours-long crawl to its launch pad ahead of the behemoth's first test flight later this month. The 98-meter-tall rocket is set to launch its first mission into space. However, without humans, on August 29th. It will be a critical, long-delayed demonstration mission to the moon, with the intention that the US's multi-billion-dollar effort will hopefully return humans to the moon as practice for future Mars missions. The Space Launch System, whose development has been led by Bo & Co. over the last decade, is set to emerge from its assembly building at NASA's Kennedy Space Center and begin the 6-kilometer journey to its launch pad. NASA's Orion astronaut capsule is perched atop the rocket. It is intended to detach from the rocket in space, ferry humans to the moon, and rendezvous with a separate spacecraft that will transport astronauts to the surface. However, for the Artemis 1 mission on August 29th, the Orion capsule will launch atop the Space Launch System without any humans and orbit the moon before returning to the Earth for a 42-day ocean splashdown. Finally, the James Webb Space Telescope has been in space news very frequently as of recent, and for good reason. Here's what you need to know. Why is the James Webb Space Telescope so popular? Well, because it is completely out of this world. The universe's adolescent phase was far more complex than previously thought, according to detailed snapshots of the early cosmos from the James Webb Space Telescope, JWST. Most galaxies in the universe formed between 2 and 5 billion years after the Big Bang, but Hubble images showed them as unstructured blobs. Now, data from the JWST that has been translated into the color range that the human eye can see reveals a jewel box of galaxies that existed between 8 and 11 billion years ago. Pretty insane, right? But very exciting. The new portrait of the adolescent universe is just one of the surprises emerging as scientists from all over the world scrambled to analyze data collected by the JWST during its first month of full operation. Not only has the first data produced stunning images of galaxies near and far, but the race to find the earliest galaxy has begun. The first galaxy seen in JWST's first Deep Field SMACS 023 image, released last month, is thought to have been around 700 million years after the Big Bang. Since then, several different teams have discovered a number of potential even earlier contenders that, if proven true, would defy expectations of what even JWST could achieve and challenge early universe theories. And there you have it, everything you need to know about the Curiosity Rover and all it has achieved within its 10 years in space. Now make sure to let us know your thoughts down below. Have you been following the Curiosity Rover's monumental moments throughout the last decade? Or did you simply forget it existed? Let us know, and as always, thanks for watching.